Hi
everyone.
Welcome back to Casual Conversation with Gloria
and Eileen.
So today we're going to be talking about a serious subject.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the Las Vegas shooting. And we're going to start with conversation 14.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find out about it?
Okay.
First off, do you want me to share first how I found out about it?
Okay, yeah.
So, I think it happened around, 10-ish? The shooting?
Or 11, no?
Well, 10, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
But they didn't start posting about it until, I think, after 11. So, I remember I was in my living room that night, and I was going through Facebook, and I saw somebody post something about that there had been a mass shooting in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so shocked because images started coming in, videos. It was disturbing videos, and also news was posting about it. So I was really shocked. I was really, wanting to know what was going on. And then that night after I found out, then I called her. Like, what was it, 11:30?
Yeah, it was like 11-ish.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you wanted me to get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was sleeping at the time, and she calls me, and I was like, what? This is weird. And then she tells me that that there was this shooting that happened over there, and I was like, what? Like, it woke me up really quickly, And I was like, where? Like, where did this happen? And she's like, it's all over Facebook. Look, I'm gonna send you videos right now. And then she sent me those videos, and I got really scared. Like, I was like, that's crazy, because you can see people hiding.
Yeah, you can see people running, you can hear the shooting in the background. Yeah. So it was pretty intense. It almost seemed like a movie.
It did.
Yeah, it's so surreal. And I just want to emphasize, for us, we have family in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we go there all the time. So that was something that kind of hit close to home, because
we were concerned.
Yeah, I was so worried, and I called my sister-in-law. Well, I think I texted her.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, are you okay? I heard this happened," because I think at the time my brother-in-laws worked at the casino. I think they were working at one of the hotels. So I was nervous, but everything was fine with them. But she did tell me, I can hear the sirens and all the police, they're all moving.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty intense and pretty scary. Yeah. Even though we weren't there. I mean, I can totally feel for the people what was happening at that time. I mean, nothing compares to that, but.
And, when I saw the footage, it wasn't what I expected. It was pretty intense.
It was very intense.
Yeah, and it was
like a battle scene almost. Like, it was, but so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into what happened, who was the perpetrator and the murderer.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay, so this happened on October 1st, 2017, and the perpetrator his name was Stephen Paddock, age 64, from Mesquite, Nevada. Okay. So
and so this guy, I just want to talk a little bit about him, because he was an awkward, quiet person. They said that he was very smart, the way he spoke, and he was rich. He had money, because he was always gambling. He would gamble for hours at a time, for days at a time. So he had money, and he was just in and out of hotels gambling. So so that night, or when does it start?
Yeah, so this happened between 10:05 and 10:15 p.m. So I guess during that time span, it was a concert. Yeah. Okay. So what happened was that he opened fire upon a crowd attending the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival, which was at the Las Vegas Strip in Nevada. So it was right across Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
This big lot where I guess they do.
But they always would do the festivals there, right?
Yeah, so it's like a designated area for that.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so he fired more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition from the 32nd floor suite. So I guess it was like this big
He rented multiple. He rented the suite, the main suite where he was setting up, and then he rented the one adjacent to that, next to it.
Yeah.
So
this was at the Mandalay Bay Hotel, and he killed 58 people, and he wounded 413, bringing the total injury total was 869. And then about an hour later, after this took place, they found Paddock dead in his room from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and his motives still have remained undetermined.
They're undetermined.
Yes.
So
I wanted to get into detail.
Yeah, get into detail because there was a lot of things happening at the time. So there was the concert, and the person that was playing that night or at that moment was Jason Aldean. So you can see it in the video. If I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen it, and it's out there for everybody to see. But he starts singing, and then, or I think he's in the middle, or he's already been singing, but you can start to hear these popping noises. Yeah. And to me, when I heard that, I thought it was like maybe their speaker system, something was going on, because it sounded like it was staticky or something.
That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
So, and then we're in Las Vegas, there's always fireworks too. So I feel like, there could have been, there were so many things that could have been. Yeah. And in the back of your mind, the last thing you would think is somebody shooting.
That wouldn't have been like your initial thought.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I feel like people, because there was a lot of men and women there that were in military. Yeah. So some of them would say, oh, that kind of sounds weird. Yeah. Like it doesn't, but then they would just brush it off as in like, no, we're in Las Vegas. Like, yeah. So go ahead.
So just a little bit of details. The target in this case was the audience of the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. So it's a country
festival.
Yeah, country music festival. So the attack type was a mass shooting, but also a murder/suicide. Yes. Right? And the weapons, there was a total of 24 firearms, 14.223 caliber AR-15 type rifles. There was 14 of those. There was 8.308 caliber AR-10 type rifles, and .308 caliber bolt action rifle, and a .38 caliber revolver. And the total of deaths was 59, including the perpetrator, and there was, like we said, 869 people were injured.
Yeah. So that was a lot of firearms to have in a hotel room.
That was a lot.
And, there was a lot of controversy with the hotel. He was a high roller. So he was known. People in the casino said that he would go for long periods of time and just rent hotels and stay there and gamble. So I feel like people that usually gamble a lot have perks and by the hotel keep you coming. They give them
like free drinks, right?
Yeah,
they get cheap hotels.
Yeah, they get they get taken care of by the hotels. So I feel like
maybe that was his advantage.
His advantage was that because he was rich and because he would spend lots of money at a time, he wasn't surveillanced as another regular person would, because he's a regular. So whatever, he can rent whatever he wants, give him whatever he wants, make him happy, so he can keep coming. That's how I see it.
Customer service,
which makes sense. Okay, like if you own a business, and somebody spends a lot of money in your business, you want to
give them the best quality customer service.
So you're not going to be questioning whatever they're doing. Yeah, which was like odd, because he would carry like bags and bags of luggage
into a lot of luggage.
Like you can see in the videos too, where he's carrying all this luggage, and they even have to pull the little trolley thing to take his luggage into his room, which is
super heavy,
and it's sketchy. Like
that is sketchy.
And he would like leave and come back with like additional luggage.
Yeah, and it's like it would be odd because it's like, bro, if this is one person, why?
What are you doing
luggage?
in this room?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
It was just annoying, but yes.
I feel like
and so I feel like he acquired the firearms throughout time. Like he would go to shooting ranges. He would buy at different locations. So it wasn't just that he acquired all of them at once and then just decided to do it. Like I feel like it was premeditated for sure. He was planning this a long time in advance. I mean, when they found him, they found like a note where he was actually taking measurements and trying to do the most damages possible in his note, because he was putting into consideration the air, the weather at that time, the length, like everything. He had everything calculated. And so I don't know, it's just, it pisses me off. Yeah,
I feel like we did spend a lot of time on this case.
Yes, for me personally, I got really into it because of, like I said, we're always there.
Yeah.
I've even taken my children there. So it's kind of
like a second home almost.
Yeah,
you know, and we're real familiar.
And I got into the investigation pretty deeply. I was listening to everything I could, trying to figure out why this happened, how he fell into the cracks when it came to sketchy business.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same way for the fact that, we do go a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, how did this happen? How was this able to happen? And then just seeing it on the news and seeing new footage that would come in, and we would just kind of try to figure out, try to get answers as to why this happened,
Right.
And I mean, we did go, how long after that?
Maybe a year after that. I don't think we went or did we go earlier?
I think no.
I don't remember. But we went.
I mean, I guess
we went, and they had the memorial there.
Yeah.
And then they had the Vegas Strong.
And it's just you go and seeing this hotel, it was just I can't believe this happened here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was pretty intense.
It was surreal.
Yeah, and then just looking at the windows and just trying to analyze and like you said, it was closed off, that area where the concert took place, it was closed off with black right, plastic almost.
You can see the window, where he broke the window to try to.
Yeah, it was surreal.
Okay,
it was surreal.
So what else do you have?
Far?
Yeah. Okay. So okay, so during this time, so I want to go back to when the shooting started. So at that time, there had been some problems with doors. I guess what happened was that somebody in the hotel left their door open for a long period of time. And so when that happens, it sends a message to security and they have to go check it out. So there was a security guard, Jose Campos. He went up to the building to the 32nd floor to find out what was going on, why the door was open. So he said that I think he took the stairwell, or he went a certain way where he noticed that one of the escape doors was bolted shut.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is weird. I'm gonna contact security to let them know I don't know if there's work being done." But I guess as he got closer to the room where Stephen Paddock was, he had put cameras outside his door. That way he knows if somebody was coming, then he's able to find out. So Jesus Campos starts walking towards the room, and then I guess Paddock sees through the camera and then turns and starts shooting through the door at him, and he actually hits him. So he hits him in the leg, and then he runs, and then he hides. I guess there's a little, I don't know what they call it, a little area where you can, I don't know,
a nook or something.
Yeah, he just hid in there, and then he called for backup. So they said, you know, that him being in that situation, or being in that point in time at that place, that he saved people from getting killed because he took the attention from the shooter away from the crowd. So that was pretty intense. I feel like that's a pretty, you know, heroic thing for him to do. The other thing, people just weren't, I felt like people didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was a big part too, because you can see in the videos when people start to hear this, some of them start kind of like dropping to the floor, others start running, people start to get trampled on, or people get cut trying to get to safety. And so it was just, and it was crazy just to think about what they went through. And definitely our heart goes out to everybody that was involved,
and prayers to all the people who lost loved ones.
I can't even imagine the hospitals, you know.
I mean, we saw so much footage, like even like the hospital footage, like just the whole floor covered in blood, like that was intense.
And also I did some investigation, and I was for a few, what was it, a week?
We did get into it.
For like a whole week I was listening to the 911 calls, you know, and it was pretty scary and sad, and just to think about what people were going through. Some of the people that would call were thinking that the whole strip was getting taken over by these people that were shooting. There was calls from other hotels that people would started calling 911 saying that there was additional shooters there. So everything got really hectic. There was a call that caught my attention where a woman called the police station, and they said that there was a shooter that had them held hostage over at the Sundance. I think it's like an airport, like a small airport. And so they said that they were being held hostage there, and so it was just everywhere.
It was. And, they heard it on the Tropicana, and then Aria,
the MGM.
Right? So they heard like shooting pretty much around that whole area. And
then everybody was running everywhere. So I can see how people running into a hotel bleeding, you would think, oh, there's a shooter out here, you know? So it was just pretty intense. The 911 calls were intense.
The stories, I mean, wasn't there a couple, like he protected
his wife? Yeah, I think so. And
or
he
like
got
somebody's
killed.
daughter too, right? Like somebody's daughter.
And the thing is that throughout the whole thing, what I got out of it was that people, without knowing each other, helped each other during that time. And there was a lot of people running out and then running right back in to help the people that were hurt, people that were injured.
And then there was people with trucks who would load people who were injured. Right, to try to take them to the hospital.
And so
because they were concerned about, like, you know, ambulance not getting there on.
And there wasn't enough help. So, you know, I got out of the fact that humanity, one bad act isn't like enough to cover up how people are still good, you know? Because there's a lot of people that are still good, and that was a big example, because they were all helping each other, and
there was a real sense of unity there.
And
like in that community.
And so that was very eye-opening and very, you know, heart-wrenching too. Everything. It was just such a emotional roller coaster.
It was emotional, and I think I remember seeing one of the videos. I mean, there's so many videos out there, but I think one of them was, you know, a couple of younger folks who were getting out of that, and I think one of the taxi drivers, they were just like, oh, can you just let us in and take us as far away from here as possible, you know, so we can contact our family, and like
So I wanted to get into some of the conspiracies that were out there. Of course,
there was a lot of conspiracies.
And some of the most you know,
the bigger ones.
Yeah, were the ones with that there was multiple shooters.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of them. Multiple shooters.
Yeah, and so they determined that it was him acting alone. The police investigated. They investigated his family. They investigated his girlfriend, and they came to the conclusion that it was only him who committed the act. There was also another conspiracy theory where people were saying that he was a patsy. Mm-hmm. That he was the one that he was trying to sell arms to some terrorist group or something, and
something
it went wrong. Like, I guess they killed him, and then they shot the people, and then the way they showed the layout of the
the photography of how they found him and what position, it was just that he was there, and then
the gun was like far too
but
far for him to have killed himself.
Yeah, and then like the setup just seemed like set up, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know.
And then
they were saying that he looked like he had already been
dead.
Yeah, prior to that for a while.
That's
the way his skin looked and all that.
But yeah, and all the investigations were done. They did autopsies on him, or an autopsy on him. They investigated everything, his whereabouts, where the guns were purchased. And you can tell that he had a definite intent to committing murder, to doing what he wanted to do. There was another, I guess, records that they found too, that he was trying to actually commit the act before, not at the Root Festival, but
at the Life is Beautiful
at the Life is Beautiful Festival. So they had evidence that he had rented a room there.
Yeah.
And he
backed out.
He backed out of that one, which that's insane.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, there was helicopters, right? That they claimed
that they saw helicopters before.
And then there was another
the shooting, that there was a gentleman running on top of a building.
Yeah, there was also
with a gun.
There was also another one, like video footage of prior to the shooting, a couple hours, some taxi driver just driving around that area, like where Mandalay Bay was, and him saying how odd he thought it was that there was no cars. Like, I mean, not no cars, but like no people.
Yeah, at the front of the hotel.
And then once he heard the shooting, he saw it from like floors way lower than the 32nd floor,
Oh, the shooting, the light?
Yeah.
So there's a video too about that.
So it's like, pretty sketchy.
Yeah. It is. Everything is sketchy. Yeah. I mean, you can never be for certain, especially if the person committed suicide.
Yeah. So you kind of don't get answers, and that's like, you want to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why would someone do something like that?
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, what are your thoughts on it? About,
man.
Do you think he acted alone? Do you think that?
It's just, I don't know. It's just, that's a lot. I mean, for one person to do that, you know what I mean? Going from one window to the next.
Yeah,
window,
that he was running back and forth.
And then the fact that, like, if there's other people in this hotel, why did no one hear this? If it's loud. It's like loud. Rifles are loud, bro.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. You know what
I don't know.
And then, like I said, the fact that you can't get answers, like, it's just.
And he didn't leave a suicide note. Like, he didn't leave no indication. I mean, I just feel like definitely he had some mental breakdown. He was definitely under a mental breakdown. He was losing money. He was on an anger streak. And I think at this point,
But that's never an excuse to kill innocent people.
Exactly. Like, I feel like
you can't.
There's no words.
Yeah, you can't put words to actions like that.
It was just a very insane act, and it was very unfortunate and very sad that it happened.
And then the trauma that,
The trauma. So there was a few videos that we were watching too of the survivors. And you can just tell that they've gone through a lot of trauma, PTSD for sure. And there was a therapist that was saying that the type of PTSD that they got is actual
like
war, being in war type of PTSD. So it's pretty intense, and I just really hope that people recover. And
because I mean, like, honestly, it makes me think like okay, I went to the store one day and I heard that song that Jason Aldean was singing at the time.
It's a trigger.
And it was a trigger because it was playing, and then I was like, you know, I'm gonna hear the bullets, you know what I mean? And it's like that's just me from footage I've seen. Like, I wasn't even there, you know what I mean? So I can't imagine how they felt there, you know, and how they feel.
I mean, so we can talk about the PTSD that we encountered when we had that incident where a man was killed in front of us. He was shot, remember, in Rosarito.
Oh yeah. I mean,
just, it was insane. There was a man that was at a dispute, and we were there just enjoying our day. We were doing a mini weekend vacation, and some guy
purchasing some fish, you know, casual stuff.
And some man just came out and he just shot another man, and we can see him. We were kind of,
I mean, at the time
we were at the beach.
We were at the beach, like we said, you know, just trying to purchase some fish to fry at home. And I remember I was in the car, you know, and everyone else was out there buying fish, and you know, all the cars are lined up. And I remember like hearing these like sounds, and I thought, oh, like somebody's banging something hard. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think it was like a gun. And I see the people next to me duck. Like, it's like a family. Like, they duck underneath their car and they just look at each other and they're scared. And I was like, what's going on? Like, I didn't understand, you know?
Yeah.
And then like, I didn't realize until like, you know, a family member came and told me, oh, they just shot a guy. And I was like, what? Are you serious?
Well, the guy, so we were standing right at the beach where the sand,
it's sand. Like a shore, right?
Yeah,
like,
and the guy came running, and you can tell he was like holding on his side, like he was
bleeding,
and he was dropping blood, and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? You know, like, and so you can see him take off, and then he collapses.
Yeah,
and so nobody's helping him, and I was like in shock. You were in shock.
Yeah,
and so I think there was a family that picked him up, and then they drove off with him. So I'm thinking, you know, we were thinking he got taken to the hospital, but just those few moments that we went through that,
leave, right?
Yeah, we left, and I was I
didn't want to go anymore.
Very scared, I told my parents, like, I don't want to go there anymore.
Like, this is the last time.
I felt like that was traumatic for us, and that was not even like somebody aiming, you know?
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine if it was somebody trying to harm us, you know?
I know, or seeing so many people injured, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, seeing that guy bleeding and like running and passing, I don't know if he passed out. I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened, but it was just scary for sure, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you have anything else to
I mean, I don't know. I have no more words, you know?
It's
tragic.
It was a tragic event, and we wanted to talk about it because, like we said, it's close to home. Like, we love Las Vegas. We're always there, and you know, just for that to have happened there, it's unfortunate and it's sad. And like I said, our heart goes out to everybody that was involved, and I hope that, you know, they're able to move on and just live a normal life. And of course, we pray. Well, our prayers go out to everybody. But I think this is it for this video. If you like it, subscribe. If you have any suggestions or comments,
or if you want to share any stories about, like, you know, info,
or experiences, please let us know, and we'll see you guys on the next conversation. Bye.